Hi and welcome to Listen Up. I'm Brian Moreau. Listen Up is a talk show where we get the chance to recognize and celebrate student success here at MHS. Each episode of Listen Up will have a different subject to focus on. In this episode, we're excited to talk about the Middleborough High School Digital Imaging and Photography courses with Mr. Souza. Thank you for joining us today, Mr. Souza. Tell us about the courses you teach here in Middleborough.
Okay, so I've been teaching here at Middleborough High School since 2014, in which the only digital art class we had at the time was digital imaging. And since we've really kind of expanded the program and I've kind of fit into that role where we've added digital photography as well as graphic design. Digital imaging really is an overview of kind of all the different digital arts that we do here, including photography and graphic design. Students do projects that will build up skills that could help them if they want to go into the industry or if they simply just want to learn more about creating presentations for other classes or for careers in the future. Photography, we do all kinds of stuff from abstract photography, really focusing on composition and how the arrangements of the elements and principles of art and design are so important to creating an interesting photograph. We also do portraiture, action photography, and landscapes as well. And then in graphic design, it's really more of a product-based kind of class where we do things like logo designs and original shoe designs. We do electronic press kits for musicians as well as a variety of presentations.
What more skills do students learn? What type of assignments do they work on?
So I touched upon this a little bit in the previous question. I guess I jumped ahead a little bit there, but the students learn a lot about composition, layout design, color theory, just utilizing the variety of Adobe products. So in digital imaging, we mostly focus on Photoshop, so they get to learn all the basic tools and filters in Photoshop, such as move, scale, using layer masks to remove backgrounds or blend things together. And then in photography, we mostly use Lightroom, which really allows students to use kind of like a digital darkroom where they can manipulate exposure, brightness, contrast, and all kinds of other photo elements. And then in graphic design, they really are using InDesign for layout and then Illustrator for the creation of original graphics such as logo designs and such. So if you take the three courses, you really are getting a pretty wide variety of the Adobe suite.
What are some qualities you see in outstanding students you teach? What makes them successful?
I think that it's pretty similar to a lot of other classes, right? Somebody who's driven and motivated, who really pays attention to detail and is organized. Those qualities will really get students far, I think, anywhere. Also just having a creative eye and really being able to see small details really helps as well.
What are some of the features the new Middleborough High School building has that support these classes?
Well, we got a whole new Mac lab at this school with beautiful monitors. Allows us to see the artwork much more clearly than we did on the old computers at the old school. But we also have an entire area where we have curtains, a green screen, a variety of backdrops, and lighting that we can utilize for our photography units. It's basically like a whole studio area in the corner of the room that I didn't have at all at the old school, so that's been huge.
How has your interest in art and photography shaped the courses you teach?
Well, my interest in art is why I'm here, so that's a given. But with photography, for me, I originally learned photography really to use for photo references for my own drawing and paintings, but through teaching photography, that has actually improved my own work because of focusing so much on composition and teaching composition. I feel like that is transferred to my own work. So it's kind of like a give and take, and the more that I improve, the more passion I get about it, and the more interesting it is to teach it. So it's kind of a back and forth.
When did you realize you wanted to teach here at MHS?
Well, I've been wanting to teach high school art for a long time. So when I got the opportunity, I was teaching part-time at a middle school in Rhode Island. When I got the opportunity for the opening here, I grabbed it quickly, and it's been a good time. And I've been here for, this is the end of my 9th year. So I've been here almost a decade now.
What is your favorite part of teaching?
My favorite part of teaching really is when I have students that want to learn and go above and beyond. I really enjoy getting the most out of my students and seeing them push themselves and find different ways to do things maybe that I hadn't considered.
What are some goals you have for 2024 and beyond?
Well, I want to expand both photography and graphic design classes. Hopefully we can get more students to engage in those courses and then potentially offer a photography too, and or if a graphic design too, but we got to work on getting the numbers up before I can offer those courses.
Is there anything else you would like to add?
Stop by my room sometime if you want to see what our students are doing, and the art show's coming up soon. So it's a great time to be able to see the work that we're doing, and if that interests you, take my class.
Thank you for joining us, Mr. Souza. Up next, we'll catch up with a few of Mr. Souza's outstanding students.
Thank you.
Welcome back. Joining us are James Baldwin and Sarah McCollem to talk about their experiences. What classes do each of you take with Mr. Souza?
My freshman year, I took Digital Imaging 1. My sophomore year, I took Graphic Design. And this year, I'm taking Photography, which is the readaptation of Digital Imaging 2.
Last year, I took Graphic Design with him, and this year I'm also taking Photography in the same class as Sarah.
Take us through an average day in class. How is it different than other classes you take at MHS?
So in Mr. Souza's class, we usually have 2 assignments going on at once, one in class and one out of class. So you had to prepare photos taken outside of class and then photos taken inside of class. And then after the actual photography is done, you'd spend time editing the photos for a final project.
Yeah, so it's a lot less about that usual, like, come into class, here's your assignment for the day. You have these running projects where you have a couple days to take pictures, edit them. You're taking pictures outside, inside of class. So it's a lot more active than a lot of other classes I've taken.
What are you currently working on in class?
Currently, we're working on our portrait project. So right now, I just finished editing all of my portraits from in class, where we played around with different lighting, and then I'm now working on editing portraits that I took outside of class in my free time.
So the portraits in class were all about lighting and focusing on getting different angles and specific lighting styles. And then we had a series of pictures that we took over break, actually, is when the homework is capturing a series of portrait photography that's supposed to capture a range of emotions. So got to take a lot of candid photos and do all kinds of different things with that. It's pretty fun.
What is your favorite part of the digital arts program?
I think my favorite part is, specifically in the photography class, is that I'm learning to use my own digital camera, which I've never been taught to use before, and I'm also allowed a lot of creative freedom. And I think a lot of these skills are things that you see online a lot, and maybe you're like, oh, I want to be able to edit photos, and this is something that I can take into the rest of my life when I, go on to events.
My personal favorite part is getting to learn how to use all these different programs, because in the other classes I've taken, like graphic design and stuff, we learn how to use like Adobe Illustrator and Photoshop, and then in this class we're getting to learn how to use Lightroom and all that kind of stuff. So it's really interesting to get to learn how to use these programs, because they could, like Sarah said, be useful later in life for, just general things. If you're running a business, you could like learn how to create your own logo, edit your own pictures and everything. So it's really useful stuff that I find actually really interesting to learn.
What has been your favorite project to work on?
I think my favorite project this year so far has been the abstract photography unit. So so we did 2 parts. So one was outside of class, where you took pictures of quite literally anything you wanted, and it was very artistic, and I think that was different than a lot of the pictures that we normally take. It's usually of a certain subject. The abstract picture, you could take a picture of anything and make it whatever you wanted, focusing on more on color. And I think that I'm not very good at fine art, like drawing and painting and stuff, so it was a great way to use my creativity. I think that was my favorite project for sure.
Yeah, and so that I don't sound like a broken record, because my favorite project from this year in photography has also been the abstract photography unit. But so I'll talk about my favorite project from the graphic design class I took. One of the projects we did was where we had to kind of design our own kind of sneaker or shoe. You could choose any kind of shoe you wanted, but you would design your own style of shoe, come up with a fake brand or use a real brand, and then you'd come up with a series of colorways for that shoe once you were done with the design. So you had the front view, side views, and that was one of my favorite projects to do. I had a lot of fun with it. I ended up making way more colorways for the shoes than I needed to make, but that was a fun project.
What advice would you give for any students interested?
I would give the advice that it's a lot of fun, and it lets you be creative in a way that not a lot of classes do, and especially, like I said, for me, I love art and I appreciate art, and I wish I was more artistic. So this lets me try out a different form of art that isn't usually talked about, which is like photography and digital art. And also to remember that it is a real class. Even though it's an elective, you should still work and try hard, because you can get a lot out of it.
Don't take it as just I can fit this in class. This is a class that you can actually learn a lot if you try, and you see that in the people that put in the effort. You get a lot out of it, and I think the big thing is let yourself be creative. That's what the space is for. That's what these art programs are for. It's to explore creativity and find new passions and stuff. So let yourself be creative. Do something new.
Is there anything else you would like to add?
I think that just like all of Middleborough High School, the digital arts program is a great way to test out new strengths and fun, just like a fun little thing to do in school that you maybe wouldn't get the chance to do anyway. So I think if you're interested, you should definitely try it, because it's been a great program and it's been a really fun part of my day, in balance with like the heavy academics and stuff. So I think if you're interested, just go for it.
Yeah, same thing that Sarah said. If you're interested in a program like that, like if you want to try to get into graphic design or photography or something, take the class, see if you like it or not. If you don't, no harm, no foul. But you can find that new kind of passion and try it out in a safe space where you have someone to help you.
Thank you to all our guests today for joining us for this episode of Listen Up. Be sure to check out all our episodes on YouTube at Middleborough TV. From all of us at MET, I'm Brian Moreau. Have a great day.